Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Bench Mob ENT. But you see, it's a different three on the screen. This the corner three. This the three-man weave. Y'all favorite big three that you could imagine from NBA threads. We are back. We just was talking. It's been since last winter since we did an episode. We got Jared Spence from the Stop and Pop podcast. Mr. Take photography, videography. He wears a lot of hats. And of course, y'all know, for those that's watching from NBA threads, we got the mayor back on the show. Rush in the building. Fellas, how y'all doing?
Doing good.
I'm good. I just need us to hurry up and wrap so I can get to my Lakers press conference. You see, I got my backdrop behind me, so we need to wait till we get in and out. No, man, I'm good, man. It's good to link back with everybody. Like you said, it's been some time, and I think we did this like twice last season. Both times were a lot of fun, so appreciate the invite back, and just ready to get back to it. And I like the new intro music tone. It's fire.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, hopefully we have a couple more for y'all this season. But as we mentioned, Jared, new father, and all the hats he wears. Rush, the mayor. Y'all know how busy it is to be the mayor. Outside of him being a father, a husband, all that good stuff, traveling around the world with Jess everywhere they going. So hopefully we get a couple more of these for y'all this year. But we're going to start off for this episode. We got the WNBA, this record-breaking season, sharing some of our favorite moments. We're going to look at the NBA season coming up, some of the players we're excited to watch, and of course our playoff predictions. And then we're going to have fun, a little game that they do on NBA TNT, which y'all know we're not going to have it anymore, which is so sad after this season. So in honor of them, we're going to do a game of who he played for. And let's see if Jared and Rush could get the most answers correct out of like 5 and see who wins. But starting off the WNBA, what were some of y'all favorite moments of the season? We got everything from Caitlin Clark. We got all the records she broke. You got Rakia Jackson. You got what happened with Angel Reese, the Liberty. What were some of your favorite moments of this season?
You go ahead, David.
I think, there's a lot. It's really hard to pick a few, especially someone like myself who admittedly didn't pay a whole lot of attention to the Sorry, I don't know if my mic went up. Can y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can hear
you. Before this year. So really everything was exciting to me, but specifically I love the fact that more teams, I think all teams now are on chartered flights. If not, the majority of teams are on chartered flights. So just the players starting to get some of the respect that they deserve and some of the notoriety and getting some of the luxuries that come with being a professional athlete. I really appreciated. But for me, the thing that takes the cake is really just A'ja Wilson's season. Like, fellow Carolinian. You know what I'm saying? Love to see her ball out. I mean, just the numbers that she's put up, and is continuing to put up now, even in the playoffs, is just. I feel like she's on a totally separate level from everybody else in the league, and she has fun doing it, right? Like I don't know what it is about her as a player. Maybe the team follows her personality, but that whole squad is just fun. But her specifically. She's just a joy to watch. I imagine she's a joy to be around. And as a relative new fan coming into the league, she's been the perfect ambassador as to why more people should be watching the sport. So her season definitely took the cake for me. And then, like I said, just in general, a lot of the players getting more notoriety, the league starting to take better care of the players. And then this is just probably one of the better rookie classes. Y'all could probably tell me, or Jared, you could probably school us on this point. But I think it's one of the more talented rookie classes that we've seen in a while for the league. So it's almost cliche to say, but the league's definitely in a great place, and I'm just excited, to continue to watch it bloom.
How about you, Jared? I think those are all facts, especially A'ja Wilson. I'm an Aces fan, so I love what A'ja did this season. Hopefully, we can figure it out and catch up. We're down right now, but Jared, what about you?
Yeah, to double back on what David was saying about the rookie class, I definitely think this is probably the best rookie class we ever had. Like all the rookies who's actually played has performed really well. And then it's not just, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, Rakia Jackson, and then, you got Aaliyah Edwards. You got all these other rookies who's coming in. And then the talent is just going to get better from here on out because there's some talented players coming in the next few drafts. And, man, we can't talk about A'ja Wilson enough with what she's done. The all-time leading score, all-time most points in a season, 1,000 plus points, led the league in rebounds, broke those records. Then on top of that, to get another MVP. Unfortunately, she didn't get Defensive Player of the Year. I thought she was going to end up getting it. But shout out to Nafisa Collier for getting it. I'm really enjoying how she's playing this season. She's been killing it this playoff run. I think she's averaging about like 34 points in this whole playoffs. And I'm like, Jesus, this is crazy. Yeah. So I'm just, as a whole for the WNBA, like I love where it's going and the talent level and how it's going forward.
I don't got nothing really much to add to what y'all said. All that is facts. Really great season. Doubling back on the rookie class, I just was talking about this with Chris Lindsay. The crazy part, as good as this rookie class was, the next two, Lord Jesus. The next two, where we talking about the Juju Watkins of the world, and we talking about Dad, why I'm drawing a blank because we literally just talked about
Paige.
Thank you. Paige coming first and Juju, bruh. Man. All these records that got broke this year, and the next 5 years, Angel coming back better, Caitlin coming back better. All them records about to be broken.
And you know what's funny about that? They're about to add more games to the regular season, so everything's about to get broken. So it's
gonna have to really, hey Jared, it's gonna be. Every year you're gonna have to probably do a recap video to remind people how good Lisa Leslie was at Cheryl Swoops, because their name's not gonna be in the record books anymore. Like, Cheryl Swoops, she's number 15. Yeah,
and
you know what's crazy.
You know what's funny about the Cheryl Swoops thing? And then how now all of a sudden everybody's turning against her because her statements about Caitlin Clark. It's crazy because it's like, do they know how good she was? Like, do they not know this is a legend. This is arguably, if not the GOAT of the WNBA, at least one of them. Like the first dynasty in WNBA history. So come on, let's give her more respect.
Facts. As Rush said perfectly, it's in a great place. NBA Media Day just recently happened. We had preseason basketball. NBA Threads was in full effect with preseason basketball back. For y'all, who are some of the players that y'all are excited to watch this upcoming season?
I know for me personally, I'm looking forward to seeing how Paolo Banchero takes that next step, how he's going to evolve his game and take his team to the next level. For me, a lot of people to compare him to a young LeBron. To me, I think he's more like a young Carmelo Anthony, in my opinion, because he got that complete offensive package as far as, the mid-range, the three, he can facilitate, he can post up, he could do everything offensively. So for me, I'm looking forward to how he develops more. And I also want to see how the Kings, try to put DeMar DeRozan into this offense, because I'm really intrigued to see how this goes with Sabonis being essentially kind of like the point guard for that team. And then Fox is more like the scorer. How's DeMar DeRozan going to fit into all this? Because most of the time he's been more 9 times out of 10 the primary ball handler on his team, besides him playing with Kyle Lowry. So I do want to see how this is going to be, because essentially he's probably going to be the second or third option. What about you, David?
So we were actually talking about it before we hopped on, but definitely Dalton Connect, obviously from my Los Angeles Lakers, had a really good showing, I think, last night. You always want to take preseason performances, whether they're good or bad, right? You always want to take them with a grain of salt, because the stars aren't really playing. You've got guys who are still trying to make rosters. You've got young guys who haven't really experienced the league before. So it's hard to come away with any definitive takeaways, right? But I thought Dalton looked really good, even just compared to Summer League. He looked a lot more comfortable. Seeing him in some of these JJ sets that people have been talking about since Reddick got hired was really nice. I'm just excited that the Lakers actually have a shooter again, like actual shooter. D'Lo obviously shot 41%, most threes in the season last year. But you get Dalton coming off the bench, reliable shooter. It only strengthens what I think was a tremendous weak point for the team last year, which was the bench. So I'm excited. I think he can come in and play right away as a 23-year-old rookie who played 4 years in college. Just better developed, and I think just better prepared to be an immediate impact. I love Paolo. I agree with everything Jared said, just in terms of a comp to Melo. I think there's a little bit of Bron in there just because of the size and the ability to play make. In addition to just getting buckets, which he can definitely do. But I'm gonna go with John Morant, another Carolinian. You know what I'm saying? Brother with dreads or locks, excuse me, for all the that I'm gonna be appropriate, locks, not dreads, excuse me. But we all know what Ja's been through the last year and a half, 2 years. Came back last year and then had the shoulder injury, so he ended up being out. The Grizzlies could be dangerous. Probably will be dangerous. You got to motivate a Ja who was already sort of on an ascension before everything happened with the social media stuff. I'm looking for a revenge. Y'all forgot about me kind of tour from Ja Morant. And I think Memphis could be right there, top 4 seed in the West. So I'm expecting a really big year for Ja. I saw somebody say it on Threads. I can't remember who, so I forgive me for not giving credit, but they said they see Ja having like a Derrick Rose.
Oh, I just saw that today too.
Yeah, so I'm with it. So I want to see what kind of year Ja has. I think people have been deservedly hard on him and undeservedly hard on him at the same time. There's just been a lot of chatter and opinions on him, and I'm just looking forward to seeing him get back on the court and ball out.
John Morant was on my list for sure. I literally, again, just had an episode with Chris Lindsay. Check him out. Make sure y'all follow him on Threads, CL Smooth X.
That's my guy right there.
Make sure I give him some love. John Morant, I really think, like you said, those Grizzlies quietly might mess around, be a top 5, top 6 team and make some noise. And you get to see everybody back in their original spot. Desmond Bane goes back to how he normally has to play. Jaren Jackson Jr. goes back to normally how he plays. I'm even intrigued to see how Edie plays in that system with them. So definitely, but I'll give y'all 2 different names since he already said John Morant. I am intrigued for sure to see how James Harden plays now. Kawhi probably not going to be there at the beginning of the season, going through some injuries with him. Paul George exited. I think we might see a throwback James Harden type of season. Not saying that he's going to be the GOAT, not saying that he's going to be an MVP conversation, but the usage rate is about to be out the roof. So I can see him averaging triple-dub. I guess Dave just lost signal, but we pros, we're going to keep it pushing right there. But hopefully he hop back on sooner than later. But we had, as I was saying, I'm intrigued to see how he plays. And a second name I would probably throw out there is, because I really had John Morant on my list. But who else am I excited to see? I'm actually excited to go watch Jimmy Butler. Contract year. He wants to stay in Miami. I think we see throwback style Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Buckets. And we see that version of Jimmy Buckets with the rest of their squad and Heat culture. The Heat might be a dangerous team to watch out for in the East.
Did you see his quote from Media Day?
Yeah.
So he was like, "No gimmicks. I'm just here." Like, I think he's ready. And I'm a Jimmy Butler fan, so like, I'm definitely looking forward to see how he plays.
Oh, he for sure heard what was said by the Godfather about he need to play more, and he want his bread. So
yeah,
that's going to be interesting to see Jimmy with that this year for the Miami Heat. I'm excited to see it. Going on to our next thing, while we wait for him to hop back on, because he's a pro, so he'll hop back on and hop right in the conversation. Playoff predictions. We'll start off in the Eastern Conference, which I think, and different from past years, really deep. They might be better than the Western Conference this year. Who do you have making it in the Eastern Conference to the playoffs?
Okay. So we got to start with the locks. We got to start with the Celtics, the Knicks, the Bucks. I think Orlando will make it again. Orlando just got better, basically. I still feel like Orlando's a point guard away from really making a leap, even though they got Suggs. I don't think Suggs is really a point guard in my eyes. I feel like he's more like a Derek White type player. I think Miami will probably make it, probably around 7th playing, because injury is always a big thing with them. Plus they got Terry Rozier, so I want to see how he's going to fit into this whole offense. Indiana, I think will make it. Cleveland again will make it. Philadelphia, with the addition of Paul George and was it Cody Martin or Caleb Martin? They got one of the Martin twins.
They got Caleb.
Okay. So I feel like he can fit into like that forward spot because they lost Tobias Harris. And then I think Atlanta will make a push for it. Not sure if they will make it. Depending on if they keep Trae Young for the whole season. I don't know, like the whole situation over there. But I feel like they can make another push for him for the playoff spot.
I don't know what's going on in Atlanta. I don't know what's going on in Chicago. I don't know what the front offices is doing.
Chicago is cooked. Chicago is cooked. Like they're a mess over there.
For sure. It's two franchises where the front office gets in the way of the players having success. Not saying that Chicago's having success anytime soon. I'm more so leaning that towards Atlanta and what Trae Young is showing, but not Chicago. They got a lot to figure out right there. Rush, for you, who do you see making it to the playoffs in the Eastern Conference? We was talking about how it's deeper this year. It's different from past years. You got Knicks, Philly, Celtics. Cavs are going to be in the mix, of course. Orlando's going to be in the mix. Who do you see actually making the playoffs on the Eastern Conference side?
Yeah. Sorry, I dropped off. I think my wife sabotaged my internet connection. Yeah, she's a Celtics fan, so we're already in the in-season rivalry. Yeah, I mean, Boston, Milwaukee, Philly, New York, Cleveland, Orlando, Miami. Who am I forgetting? Indiana. I think that's 8, right? That's probably 8 right there. Atlanta, it's Atlanta. Chicago, like Jared said, they're kind of cooked. So the East, I think, picture is probably a little clearer. Will probably come into focus a little earlier, I think, than the West. I think the West, a lot of this probably like at least the bottom 4 will probably come into play a lot later in the season. Obviously, you've got the play-in, but I think that shape will take form later in the year, just because it's just so much tougher than the East. But I don't really expect too many surprises out of the Eastern Conference, unless somebody just really bottoms out, like Milwaukee, if they just suck or whatever, or they get another injury. Because I don't think Middleton is all the way quite right with his knee.
They said he's going to miss some time. I forgot how long, but I think it's like both his knees.
Yeah. So that already right there is like, already makes me nervous. But I mean, you've got Giannis and you've got Dame. So Dame is gonna, I think, have a point to prove this year. So I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be in the mix somewhere between 1 and 6. But unless somebody bottoms out, like there's a really big injury, I don't think we'll see too many surprises. I really do like what New York has done with Cat. They're a little thin on the bench. I know Jared. Jared feels the way about it.
I'm bittersweet about it.
But I think when you look at Boston, right, and what they've done, I think getting Cat gives you a better chance to compete with Boston with the Knicks current roster. So I like the move. I mean, we'll see if Cat can, with no real pressure on him to be like the lead guy, or maybe not even the number 2 guy, depending upon how Bridges looks this year. See if he can perform better in like a third option type role. But just imagining how much more room Brunson's going to have to work with Cat in the corner, I like it, to be honest with you. But we'll see. But yeah, I don't see too many surprises out east. Hopefully I didn't forget anybody and I get flamed for it, but I'm pretty sure I got most of the playoff teams from last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not going to reiterate and drag it on because we got the same list. Only possible teams, like you said, could make noise as a surprise: the Hawks, Pistons. Maybe that's it. Everybody else probably is going to bottom out. They're not going to be that good. Charlotte, just was talking about it. I'm excited to see LaMelo back.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully he stays healthy this season. We just talked about it. It'll be in a clip, but might as well share it right here. Chris shouted out Rush. He said maybe Rush needs to be in the locker room with the Hornets because they do have a maturity issue. That's my only concern with the Hornets. You got LaMelo speeding out of the arena, almost hitting people. You got people just spending more time in the studio rapping. Like, it's a lot going on with the Hornets.
Yeah, let me jump in. That was one of my. I said it to somebody the other day. I do think the Hornets could be a play-in team and maybe sneak into that 8th spot. So maybe like a Miami or somebody, because Miami's always hurt every year. Maybe they're hurt down the stretch and Charlotte surprises them and somebody in the play-in. I do think that they could have one of their better years in quite some time if Melo is healthy, which is always a big if. You've got Bridges coming back, and I know people how they feel about him. But I mean, the bottom line is just looking at him as a basketball player. I mean, he's got 20 points per game, 7-8 rebounds, couple assists potential, impact player. You've got the second year for Brandon Miller, right? Yeah, second year for Brandon Miller. He's going to take a step. So I think they've got some potential. So I'm definitely going to keep an eye on them this year, a lot closer than I have in years past as my hometown team.
They got Jeff Green now, so maybe that will help them out as far. I think they got Jeff Green. Someone told me they got Jeff Green.
The Hornets?
I didn't see that one if they did, but I'd be excited if they got Jeff Green. I mean, I'm going to see at least one poster.
I don't see it on the roster. Huh? Well,
yeah, they signed a couple of vets with Seth Curry. They signed Taj Gibson. Mm-hmm. You got Daquan Jefferson. They got in the trade. Mm-hmm. Trade manager returning. Keontae Johnson. They got a good young nucleus right there. You got a new head coach. And you got Kemba Walker on the coaching staff, so that might help in regards of, hey, connecting with the players. I've been here. I've done it. I've had success. Injuries messed up my career. This is how you should go. This is how you should approach the game. Like Rush said, they could be in that conversation, them in Atlanta, of possibly sneaking in a play-in. For them, it all depends on, for me, like he said, LaMelo. If LaMelo can stay healthy, that changes you don't know what the ceiling is because LaMelo is that dynamic of a player. We just ain't seen it for more than 65 games, I believe, 66 games. He hasn't played that many games in his career consistently. So that's what I'm looking for there. On the East, before we go to the West, who do y'all think actually wins the Eastern Conference?
I say it's between New York and Boston.
I agree with that.
Provided Porzingis is healthy.
Yeah. I have my thoughts about the trade, but I still think the Knicks have a chance to get there. I think I'm just more salty about them trading Dante. Because if it was just a Randall for Cat straight up, I'm cool with that. But you had to give up Dante and a first-round draft pick. It was like, man, come on. Like, that hurt. That really hurt. But I think they do have the opportunity to go far and get to the finals.
Yeah.
I think it's between 3 teams, actually. And I'm still trying to figure out. I'm going to make my official picks this week. I think it's between Knicks, Celtics, and I love what Philly looks like on
I had a
paper.
feeling going to say Philly.
On paper, I like what it looks like, but health is a concern with them. But on paper, if we can see a healthy Joel Embiid in the playoffs, which we haven't seen, a healthy Joel Embiid in the playoffs, there's no actually answers for him. There's nobody set up to guard that man. So that's how I see possibly in the East. Before we go to the West, Jared, your hometown team, the Wizards, what are you seeing possibly from Washington this year? Jordan Poole returning, Bilal Coulibaly in his second season. You still got Mr. Fashion, Mr. Great Solid Player himself, and Kyle Kuzma.
Mm-hmm.
What do you possibly see from the Wizards this season?
Still seeing a rebuild. The whole franchise is on board with a rebuild. The GM basically been saying all offseason they're in the deconstruction phase of the rebuild, so they're still trying to figure out what pieces they want to build with, what pieces they may trade. Honestly, Kuzma might get traded by the deadline. We'll see. But Poole, they said that they're letting him be the point guard full-time this year. He'd be the primary ball handler. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how he plays. Second half of the season, he did come off the bench, but they had him playing point guard, and his stats went up when that happened. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing how he plays this year. And as far as Coulibaly, I'm looking for him to make that step as a defender, guarding more of the premier players. And then you got Alex Sarr down there, who's a good defender as well, even though he's young. He's skinny, but he needs to put some weight on. But he also has Valanciunas down there helping. So, and I think Valanciunas is a really good player. And they got Malcolm Brogdon. So I feel like they could make some noise, but they're probably going to win tops 30 games.
I am excited to see Poole. I hope this is a bounce back season, similar to what we were saying with Ja.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know to that extent, but like a revenge type season for Poole this season, because kind of people was taking doodles on him last season with him being in Washington, but I think he's better than what we saw last season. Western Conference.
Mm.
Woo!
One
of y'all can take it first. Western Conference. Good Lord. Who do y'all see making the playoffs in the West?
That's hard.
It is hard. Go ahead,
Hey,
Jared.
Rush, I'm a Lakers fan. As you see, we got Lakers gear on. Do you think our Lakers make it into the playoffs?
I do, actually. Yeah. I think I have this really weird suspicion that the Lakers are actually going to come out of the gate like really strong. Their first 10 games, I think I remember looking at it the other day. They're playing some like really tough teams. I think there might even be like a 3 or 4 game road trip in there somewhere. I can't recall off the top of my head. Forgive me for not being prepared. But I feel like they're really going to come out strong. JJ is really prepared. He's about his P's and Q's. He's got a veteran coaching staff. Nate McMillan, Scott Brooks, they have won games and playoff series in their individual head coaching careers, right? You've got Bron, you've got AD. Bron's riding this still on his cloud 9 high from the Olympics. You know what I'm saying? And I know AD is feeling the same way. You've got Gabe Vincent back healthy. You're starting the lineup that won, I think, the most games, 23-10 last year. So, you know, I think that they have an opportunity to come out and play really well. I think where the dangers are is that right now there's no perceived depth, right? Like you don't really know what you have in Dalton, although he looked good last night. You don't know if Gabe Vincent is going to be the traditional, you know, breakout star in Miami, sign somewhere else, and then you're garbage. You know, we've got the bigs are a little shaky. You really need like a standout year from Jackson Hayes as, you know, the assigned like backup big man. And then you've got Christie, you know, he's going to get minutes, but what do you have with him? You don't really know. So the development of the bench is going to play a really big role in how strong this team can be. And if they can really make a solid push to get one of those top 6 seeds and not have to worry about the play-in. But I think the Lakers will surprise some people. I don't think we're going to be like 1, 2, 3, or 4. I really think they can be in that 5 to 6 range when it's all said and done. But yes, in a roundabout way, I think the Lakers will make the playoffs. Yes, that's my declaration here on I don't know what we're calling this podcast, but the mayor said it
Corner
here.
three.
Yes, the Lakers will corner 3. I like it. The Lakers will make the playoffs.
So real quick, before Jared gives us our list of who makes the playoffs in the West, they start off with the Timberwolves. They then see the Phoenix Suns, Sacramento Kings, the Phoenix Suns again, the Cavs, the Raptors, Pistons, and Grizzlies. The only per se easy games you would say in that are the Raptors and the Pistons. So they have a pretty tough start to the season. If they actually start off well, like you have that suspicion, that can only be good for the rest of the season, having to start off with that gauntlet of playoffs / some championship contenders in there.
Yeah.
And y'all play well, it'll turn out well for the season. Jared, who do you have making it in the West?
Okay. So I got Denver, Dallas, Minnesota, coming off the year that they had. OKC, Phoenix. I don't think Golden State is going to make it. I think they're going to have a big fall off this year. Sacramento is going to make it. I can see Houston making it. I can see Houston making it right at like 7th or 8th. And I don't think the Clippers is going to make it. I'm not sure about the Clippers, but I think Memphis is going to make it. I think that's 8, and maybe the Pelicans, barring what happens with Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum. Like, I'm still trying to figure out what they're trying to do with that team, because I feel like they gotta let at least one of those go. You got Herb Jones and you got Trey Murphy, so you need to free up one of those positions to give them minutes. So whatever they decide to do, they might make it, or they'll make a nil push for it.
Well, that's perfect timing, because in our chat they asked, "What are the Pelicans' ceilings?" So, Jared, what do you think is the ceiling for the New Orleans Pelicans?
I feel like they need a center. That's really what they need. If they can probably trade one of those pieces I named for a center, I feel like that could really take them over the top. I feel like they could be a 45-win team if they, of course, if they stay healthy. Zion always is a big if as far as health. And DeJounte Murray was a big step for them because he's a two-way player, really good defensively, good point guard. So I feel like they can be a 45-win team, middle of the pack, but we just have to see how it goes.
So, Tony, you see how Jared does this? So, like, I gave the Knicks love, right? I said, like, man, I see the Knicks. They could potentially win. I love what Cat, the Cat edition. That Brunson's going to have a big year. He's got some space. Came back, and he just totally disregarded the Lakers, man.
Listen, I got to see what the Lakers do first, because I'm still iffy about the Lakers right now.
I went out of my way. I like the Knicks.
Listen,
show them the appropriate love. He didn't even give his thoughts on the Lakers. Didn't even say like, "Oh, I think AD have a stroke." Like nothing. They don't exist. Dang.
Listen, the verdict is still out on the Lakers with JJ as the coach and the bench and everything. It's hard to like really gauge what's their ceiling right now. It's hard because, to be honest with you, JJ doesn't have any type of coaching experience. So that's really like the main gist of it. Like, I know, like, LeBron, AD is going to perform, but it just comes down to like the schemes and the coaching with JJ. Now I see he's like running a lot of plays with Dalton and getting people off the ball more, as opposed to what Darvin Ham was doing last year. We don't know what he was doing last year.
Right.
So
no, in all seriousness, no. I mean, there's a lot of question marks around the team. Even as a fan, I can't not acknowledge that, right? There's a lot of unknowns, which I think the first, like all those games, I think there were probably 10 that Tone read off. Those first 10 will probably tell us a lot about the team and tell a lot about the bench, how quickly JJ's acclimating to being a head coach, and how much more can we get out of this starting five. So I think there are a lot of there are more question marks than certainties with the Lakers for sure.
Do you think they need a trade?
Probably. I think they need a big.
Mm-hmm.
I for the life of me, I would love for someone to make a documentary on this offseason, to get some like behind the scenes information, because I need to know why like Valanciunas wasn't signed. Hell, we couldn't have even gone after Wagner, even though I know he was probably always going back to Orlando. Like, we just need size, like capable big man who can be an offensive threat and can play either behind or alongside AD for short spells, because I think AD is pretty solidly a 5 at this point. But
he doesn't like playing the 5 though, and they won the championship with him playing the 4. So
I don't care if you look statistically. They are better when he's at the 5. I'm not saying I don't care to you. I'm just saying I know that's like the thing people and AD himself says it, but statistically they're better when he's at the 5. But if you want to find out if you're even better with him at the 4, sign a freaking big man. Like Valanciunas was right there. And I know when Windhorst said keep an eye on him to eventually end up on the Lakers. So I know when Wendy speaks cryptically, usually there's something there. But I think he's a big.
I think Vando is the key for y'all. To be honest with you, if he can stay healthy, I feel like that could be the real piece for y'all, because y'all got to the conference finals with him in the lineup.
So I think he's a big part of raising our ceiling in the regular season. Absolutely. But if he hasn't improved his corner jumper, he's going to get played off the floor in the playoffs, because Denver exploited him a couple of years ago to where he couldn't even play. So regular season, yeah, absolutely, I agree with you. But depending upon what that corner spot up jumper looks like in the playoffs, I think his ability to help will be relatively limited.
Who do you see making the playoffs outside of the Lakers? That's one of your 8.
Wow. So you've got Denver, Dallas, that's 2. This is no particular order. Lakers, that's 3. Phoenix, I think, will make it. That's 4. Memphis, 5.
It get hard after that.
Who am I? I'm forgetting some teams that made it. OKC. Wow, I can't believe. Forgive me, Evan, if you see this. I'm sorry. OKC definitely is in there. That's 5, 6. Houston, I like to take a step. They've got some serious depth. Did I say New Orleans yet? I think New Orleans can be in there.
That's 7 right there.
That's 7. That's 7. I think it's between Golden State and Sacramento. I would go. Because I really don't like Sacramento. And that's no. I mean, they got great players. I just don't like them. As a Lakers fan, I can't stand them. But I don't know, between Sacramento and Golden State, I would say, if I have to choose, I would say probably Sacramento, as I think they've just got a better overall team. If you look at it and stack players up individually, but Golden State's got one of the greatest players ever in Steph. So Steph alone is going to win you a handful of games. So maybe that's the difference. But yeah, I think that would be my off the dome 8. And like I said, hopefully I didn't leave anybody out where it's egregious and people are like, Dave don't know what he's talking about. But I think that's a pretty fair 8.
Yeah, that's solid right there. I want to ask you guys, somebody in our chat is asking, they saying the Spurs, should they be in that playoff conversation at all?
You know, I was thinking when Chris Paul got traded to the Thunder that one year, there were like zero expectations, and I think they didn't make the playoff. Did they make the playoff that year?
They made it.
Yeah, they made it.
Yeah, they made it in a year when nobody. I think they were supposed to like tank, and he was just supposed to provide mentorship. And then they're like, "Oh shit, like we're actually decent."
I think they won 7 games in Houston.
Yeah, I know that was years ago at this point. But with Wemby, you know, Chris Paul, another year with that nucleus, they've got some really, really good young wings, I think. And then you've got Sokan and Keldon. Play in, yeah, sure. I think they could and get in, and then at that point, it's a 1-game series with whoever you're playing, and you've got probably the ultimate X factor in Wemby. So I could definitely see them getting to a play-in position and then maybe upsetting somebody and getting in. I don't think that we'll see them in 1 through 6. But if anybody said the Spurs were going to make the plan and then they could upset somebody and get the 8th seed or 7th seed, sure. Like I wouldn't argue with you. When you've got Victor, like I think because nobody really knows everybody knows he's good, but nobody really knows how great he can be, right? Like I feel like his ceiling is just I don't think it's
astronomical.
Yeah, it hasn't been defined yet. So yeah, I can see it.
Modern day Wilt Chamberlain, that's what I call him. Like the stuff he's doing out there.
We got game footage. I'm playing. I know we got footage of Will. I'm just joking. I'm gonna go on mute.
Hey, on the West, I think I got the Nuggets. That's 1. These 4 I think are locks. Nuggets, Mavs, T-Wolves, OKC. I think those 4 are locks in the West. Those 4 right there.
I'm sorry, I forgot Minnesota in mine. So swap. I'm sorry, y'all. Minnesota and New Orleans.
Minnesota, New Orleans.
Yeah, I can't have Timberwolves fans coming after me.
You're gonna have Sarah coming at you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know how I forgot about them, to be honest with you. Go ahead.
I thought you said Minnesota, so that's my bad. Moderating the show. I thought you said Minnesota, so that's me.
We need a producer. Somebody speak in my ear like Rush. You got to mention Minnesota.
Or first take S one of these days. So out of those 4, right? I see the next 4 to make it. The Suns. I see the Rockets. I see Memphis, and I see the Lakers. Now this is not in no particular order, but I think those are gonna be the last 4. I don't see the Clippers making it just for Kawhi, the question mark. I think James Harden is going to have a really good personal season, but I don't know. I think they'll be in the mix. I think San Antonio might be in the mix. I think outside of that, the Pelicans should be in the mix, but Brandon Ingram, that trade is up in the air. If he's going to be there, Zion's health is up in the air. So that's how it goes. I think who wins the West, I'll let you guys choose first who wins the West because I'm not sure. So you guys could go first.
Minnesota. I think Minnesota can go.
I'll play. You know, and this isn't correlated to me. Shamefully omitting Minnesota in my list. I don't know how I did that, but I actually think they might take a step back. Not a huge step. I think they might take a bit of a step back this year with the trade, and you know, just fully handing Ant the reins. But I would say, you got Minnesota, Dallas, Denver, kind of like the top 3. I can see Dallas getting back. I think Luka is that good, and still getting gooder. It's still getting better, and you know, you got Clay, who is going to have something to prove. Another year of Luka and Kyrie. They've got some young guys on that team that I think are still getting better. I think they really knocked it out of the park this offseason with the moves they made. So I think Dallas, again, provided they're healthy, because Kyrie has been known to get dinged up here and there. I think Dallas has probably, I would say, the best shot, or as good a shot as any of the other two top teams, Denver and Minnesota. And OKC. Damn, I'm sorry. I still think Dallas in a 7-game series. I think Dallas could still beat OKC. But I like OKC to be right there. So those two, I think, would probably meet in a conference finals. And I like Dallas's chance to make it, but I can see OKC making it just as easily.
I'm going with OKC. I really love the signing of Hartenstein, and I love the signing of Caruso for them. I think they're deep. They're young, but they have a window, because you can't pay everybody. So They got 2-3 years. Y'all gonna have to get it done, because Jalen Williams gonna need his bag. Chet gonna need his bag. Somewhere is unless they change, the collective bargaining agreement, you can't pay SGA, Caruso, Chet, and Jalen and J-Dub. Is no way. So I think now is the best time to get it done for them. 2-3 year window. Ultimately, I think they make it, and you guys can make your picks. I think who actually wins the finals this year, I'm gonna have to go with Philly. I think Philly wins it. Philly goes against OKC. Joel Embiid, no answers for him. Paul George gets one. That changes his career completely. We talk about that man differently. If he gets a ring, I think he gets a ring. He gets it done. I'm going to go with Philly.
Yeah, Philly. That's a big question mark. All them injuries they have, man, it's hard to really to see their ceiling. Man, I'm just gonna say I think the Knicks is gonna win it. I think they're gonna go all the way this year. I believe that. I feel like they got enough to beat Boston, and honestly, I don't see teams really matching up well against them in the West. So I feel like the Knicks will definitely, take it, especially with Cat there. I have my thoughts about Cat, but I feel like what he brings to the table will be enough to change my mind about him.
Hey, if Philly don't win it, I do think Knicks will be in the finals. I really we talked about it on Threads. I love the Cat trade. I love Cat for y'all. I love Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, Miles Bridges, Josh Hart still there. The team is solid from the top
really
to the
bottom. Quick note on OKC. It's kind of crazy that I think Caruso is the oldest player on the team. He's 30. It's just wild when you think about how young they are, but how much talent they have under the age of 30 is just ridiculous. But like Tom said, that the clock is ticking. It kills me to say this, but I think too many people are dismissing how primed the Celtics are set up to be repeat, maybe even potentially three-peat as champions. The Jays, excuse me, are 27 and 26 respectively, and really haven't even reached their prime years yet. I feel like prime is 28, 29. They're not even there yet, and they're already as a tandem. They're really good. Forget all the noise about Tatum and Finals MVP and the Olympic stuff. Tatum is an elite basketball player, and Jaylen Brown is just as good. So you have those two, and then you got KP. I mean, you just saw he was just the ultimate game changer for them. And Horford still hobbling around at 50 or however old he is. Drew Holiday, the ultimate glue guy. Derek White, they brought everybody. They ran it back completely, and they the saying goes, they're the champions until somebody beats them. And I think that they are set up. They could just as easily repeat, even with Philly being stronger, even with New York getting Cat in the big trade. I think Boston has to be the favorite. at this point.
Hey, everything you said right there was facts. There's nothing to dispute. Only concern with, not even a concern, we haven't seen a repeat champion yet since the 2017-2018 Warriors. So
Right.
I'm going with that pick just off of what we've seen from history because of how talented the league is as a whole. And something that's not mentioned often with the Celtics, last year, for the most part, everybody on their team was healthy. Very rarely do we see back-to-back seasons where teams are healthy every single year. Hopefully, knock on wood, they stay healthy. That's great for us because that's going to be great playoff series. The top part of the Eastern Conference, the Atlantic Division, period. Celtics, Sixers, Knicks are in the same division.
Yeah.
So, hey, please be healthy. We don't like injuries here. 2K, turn the injuries all the way off. Let's see them at their full strength. KP against Cat or KP against Embiid. Al Horford, he's considered the Embiid stopper. Like, hopefully they're healthy.
Right.
Great basketball. Ending off the show, we're going to play who he play for. Who does he play for? First one, Larry Nance Jr.
He was in the Cavs last year, right?
Mm-hmm. Nah, he started off the Cavs and then on the Pelicans.
And then I think he's still there, isn't he?
I think so, yeah.
Larry Nance has been traded this offseason to the Hawks from the Pelicans.
Oh, right. I forgot about
That's
that.
right. He did get traded.
Mm-hmm.
Killian Hayes.
Brooklyn. I know that because people was talking about all the bricks that they're going to have. All the bricks that have Ben Simmons going to have in Brooklyn.
Well, I just saw him on their social media, so that's how I knew. I knew he had signed somewhere. I couldn't remember where, but then I saw him on that social media the other day. Really good. I think really good place for him too. At this point,
He said,
I mean, if he's going to be anywhere, I feel like that's a good place for him.
Yeah,
it's basically like every day's a tryout. Every game's a tryout for Brooklyn because they're not going nowhere.
Facts, but we did see him in an everyday type of tryout team last year in the Pistons, and he requested out. So hopefully he stays the course this year.
Well, it's different because the Pistons, their guards are set, right? Like I don't know that you could say the same for Brooklyn. I feel like every position other than Clax there, right? I feel like. Man, I know Ben Simmons is there, but I think they're gonna try to play him more traditionally at a 4. So
they still got Dennis Schroeder, right?
They signed Schroeder, Cam Thomas. So still off the bench. It's still
open, I mean he's not going to come in and start, but I think he's got an opportunity to get some solid rotation minutes.
Hopefully, speaking of Nets, Derek Whitehead, shout out from Jersey. Hopefully he's healthy this year. Another player, like you mentioned. Outside of that starting roster that they have, Cam Johnson, Schroeder, Cam Thomas, Clax, there's a lot of young players on there that could make a roster, make their name, whether it's for Brooklyn or for another team watching. It's a lot of opportunity this year for Brooklyn. Really, that's their season essentially. Spencer Dinwiddie.
Dallas,
yeah, he went back to Dallas.
James Wiseman.
Ooh. In Indiana? No, not Indiana. Somebody signed him.
He was on. What you said last year? He was on the Pistons last year.
Yeah,
I think he did go to Indiana.
Is it Indiana?
Indiana, you guys got it right. Indiana.
Gotta go with my gut, man.
I'm hearing you say it. I'm like, yeah, you got it. Harrison Barnes.
Spurs,
yeah.
Bol.
He went back to Phoenix.
Went back to Phoenix. Last one, Nicholas Batum.
Clippers. Yeah, he's back on the Clippers.
Went back to the Clippers. All right, I don't know if y'all want to join in on this or not, but we have somebody in the chat that asked this question, and then we'll end off the show with this one. He asked, start, bench cuts. I don't know if y'all see the names. Ja, Luka, Tatum.
I'm gonna say start Luka, bench Tatum, cut Ja.
I hate these. These things are so. no disrespect to who asked it. Like, I get why we ask these questions. I just hate them so much.
That's why I prefaced it by saying if I want to do it, because I remember you specifically saying you don't like these.
Oh man, I hate these things. But they're also fun too. So start cut Tatum, Ja, and Luka. I'm starting Luka. I just talk really highly about both of these dudes too, though, which is killing me. I'm gonna be a hypocrite either way.
Revenge toast.
I'm going to start Luka, bench Ja, and cut Tatum.
Ooh.
The only reason why is because you know what? I'll explain it. You know what? I'm not gonna get myself into any more trouble than I'm already in. You know what? Damn it. So Luka, Ja, cut Tatum. And then y'all I'll leave the rest of your imaginations why I made my pick.
Just not gonna like that. You cut Tatum.
I don't care about her. She sabotaged my internet. I know she unplugged my cable from the router earlier.
Shout out to Jess. Shout out to BMO. They on top right now. They the champs. Shout out to them. Until they get beat, I know they're gonna be talking cash crazy all season. But we got the stop and pop, we got the mayor, and we got the bench mob ENT. As we said, this is the corner 3. When y'all see us, this is the corner 3 episode, corner 3 podcast. Y'all know the vibes. We all stay ready, so we don't gotta get ready. Corner 3, we out. Peace.
Peace.